Crack open that bottle of wine. Grab your favorite glass, pour a couple of fingers of scotch in it. Get that stick, light it, and blow. It's time to hang with Steel Sharpened Steel after dark.
Good evening, Sharpies, and welcome to another episode of Steel Sharpened Steel. Today's show was brought to you by Boone's Farm, specifically Boone's Farm Strawberry Hill. Remember back in the day when you were in college and you wanted to act like an adult, but you only had $1.07? You could afford Boone's Farm Strawberry Hill. If you were fancy, you could have $2.50 and get a bottle for you and your girl to share before you went into the party and tore it up. Looking forward to reminiscing about the upcoming documentary, shall we call it, affectionately known as Freaknik 94. There will be several sightings, not only of Boone's Farm Strawberry Hill, but the resulting progression of Black bouginess, because we've all been on this journey. Right? So for those of you who are now pretending to be fancy, sitting at home drinking mimosas made with La Marca Prosecco, we all know that we owe our alcoholic presence to Boone's Farm.
Woo woo!
Oh, I quite enjoy these commercials.
All the Boone's Farmery.
All the Boone's Farmery. Welcome. Welcome to tonight's episode. It is June 16th, and my name is Joyce Stevens.
And I'm Tom Cunningham. I'm getting my camera in order because I had to race all the way from the Flash movie where I juggled 8 horrific CGI baby monsters in the opening sequence of the film. And so I'm just trying to kind of get my head together around that because it was truly a frightening enterprise.
Well, I will tell you, while you were getting together, so the you got to respect the consummate professionalism of Mr. Thomas Cunningham, Esquire, because he has already viewed this movie, put a 1.5-page review on the internet, drove home, jumped into scene, and with like 30 seconds to spare, got in here so we could act like we planned this. Yes, that's a professional. Don't let nobody tell you different.
We try. We try to make sure that this show is ready for y'all each and every work. And so here we am trying to do it.
Know what, Mad Dog should have been the prototype / precursor for Boone's Farm, right? So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mogan David, come on.
Yeah, Tom is the man. All right, so we do have a lot. As Mr. Turner said, it is hot with the weather and news from the past week. So we got a lot to share. Looking forward to getting it down tonight. So I wanted to start with a relatively large story, if you don't mind me starting with it, Tom. Let's see if I can get myself on screen.
Go ahead.
Because we got this going on, and I thought this is a great way to introduce some of the events of the past week.
Music make you lose control. Music make you lose control. Music make you lose control.
I got a cute face, chubby waist, thick legs in shape, rump shaking both ways, make you do a double take. Planet rocker, showstopper, flow popper, head knocker, beat scholar, tail dropper, do my thing, motherfucker. Rolls Royce, Lamborghini, blue Medina, always beaming, rag top, chrome pipes, blue lights outside. Long weed, so in, say it again, so in, make that money, throw it in, booty bouncing down here. Everybody here.
Okay. Woo! That was a homecoming preview.
I know, right? Dance break. You can tell we getting old. Well, about halfway through that, we was like, how long is this?
What's this we finna do? Yeah, no, that gave me 100% of the life. That was a great little dance break. And again, this is one of those things where you got to look at the objective reality versus how the GOP is trying to spin things.
Right, because they are straight up peeing on your foot and telling you it's raining.
Because Pence was the first one to really break ranks in a substantive way, because it was all, witch hunt, blah, blah, blah. Pence finally said,
this is some bullshit.
I've read the indictment, and these are serious allegations. if these allegations are true, they are not defensible.
Right.
These allegations are bad, Joe. They bad. And the thing that is he hasn't gone down in the polls per se as far as who the GOP wants to be their candidate or whatever. But what is happening is that increasingly larger and larger proportions of the GOP are saying these are serious.
Yeah.
These are things that should be prosecuted. And that's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good at all.
Because some of them are actually familiar with the law. Not all of them. Matter of fact, the early adopters of deuces are familiar with the law, and you still have some people straggling along no, it's a witch hunt. At what? He did what? When? Oh, that's in there?
Wait, he
my
showed
mom's calling me, and they just out.
He showed top secret documents to but I thought he said that when Hillary did that, she should be prosecuted. Wait, I thought he said, how did journalists get secrets? I thought.
Yeah, he did. The thing that gets me though is, I mean, it really is that Rick James, cocaine is a hell of a drug. Now, what do you think I look like out here? I don't have any documents that aren't classified, blah, 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 blah. Yeah,
I took those documents
and I showed them to people in this home record. Yeah, I remember the camera being in my face. I thought it was cool. Matter of fact, you got to follow Trey Crowder, who is the intellectual redneck, something like that. But Trey, Trae Crowder, glorious white boy from, I want to say, Alabama. I love him to death. And he talks about the fact that this man jeopardized the safety of the nation in a tangible, real, and immediate way. Understand that it wasn't like he brought out some stuff from Watergate and Nixon was these never classified. Oh, here's some stuff on J. Hale Hoover that you never heard. No, he brought out current rosters, current data on operatives around the world.
Current attack maps.
Current attack maps, because he wanted to be cool in front of some other people. The way Trey put it is he wanted to basically be able to say, oh, you know what? I'm really cool. I'm so cool. I got these classified documents. I can't show them to you, but what the fuck? Fuck it. Go ahead and look at them. Because that's what narcissists do when they want attention, is they continue to do outrageous things just to get you to look at them.
And that brings up the kind of the first graphic. Wait, Walter Nauta? What? He's trying to throw Walt under the bus?
Do tell.
Yeah. Oh, no, you got to put a thing. No, Asa Hutchinson. Listen, Asa. Sorry, bro. I get it. You are not Chris Christie. Chris Christie is a street brawler from Jersey. Chris Christie is trying to bring that funk. Asa Hutchinson, you're too old school, slow, old or what? No, that isn't gonna get it. But Joy, you said something, and it brings up the first graphic that I loaded for today. He keeps confessing.
I keep confessing to all my favorite crimes.
Right?
I keep confessing, and I'm
Usher.
Jesse like no more. I'm sorry.
Usher doesn't confess as much as this mofo is confessing.
Right.
And look, here's the tweet. So now that everyone understands that the Presidential Records Act plus the Clinton Sox case totally exonerated me from the continuing witch hunt brought on by corrupt Joe Biden, the DOJ, deranged Jack Smith, and their radical left Marxist thugs, when are they going to drop all charges against me, apologize, and return everything that was illegally taken, Fourth Amendment, from my home? This was nothing other than election interference.
How is it election interference when you ain't running for shit? Bro, the election hasn't started. We ain't even had the primaries yet. You just a random old man out there committing crimes in your spare time.
They sent you the subpoena before you declared.
Watch this.
So caught up.
See him doing that.
So caught up.
Right.
Stole those boxes still.
Right.
And
With all these documents. Watch this.
still.
Watch this. Watch
So you got the documents. You got the top secret documents that you watch this. Listen, oh my God. I know his lawyers are like,
his lawyers sitting around like with a little cloud over them, like that one character on Charlie Brown, just
it's like,
they just go home and cry in the bathtub every night.
I know their next defense is that deep fakes. Those are AI tweets.
Don't give them any bright ideas. Do not give them any ideas.
He is the dumbest. He couldn't shut up about E. Jean Carroll. Now, he's supposed to pay E. Jean Carroll $5 million. He went back to say, I don't think it's worth $5 million, maybe $350,000. And E. Jean just got the green light to pursue more defamation because he went out and called her a liar.
Yep. And hats off to David Canal Bell for arranging this graphic like this for us.
Yeah. It's so crazy. I just don't understand.
What
he's in his 70s.
He just kept crying and they gave him something to cry about. He is every trope in the book. He is fuck around and found out personified.
Found, find, founded, finded it. With a spotlight, a searchlight. Another of his lawyers. Okay, so y'all knew that one of his lawyers had bounced after the indictment. Okay?
I don't know. Well, they think for a minute this might be maybe they get their retainer money up front and then they bounce. That was right.
Well, clearly they don't get the retainer up front.
Right, because he don't pay.
That's the point. They think they're going to get fame from people who like Donald Trump. But the base can't afford you. So we're clear. And the billionaires who are backing the GOP, they don't want to be associated with traitors. They might not.
And most lawyers don't work for skins and pig feet. I mean, that just
nope. Or empty McDonald's wrappers and chili fries. Yeah, no, Diet Cokes.
Or as you might get in Alabama and North Georgia, burl peanuts.
I was right there with you. Yeah, bags and bags of burled peanuts. Too many bags. The bottom bags are all squoze out. And
you're right. No, keep fucking around and lose your license. Mm-hmm.
Hello, Rudy. Paging Giuliani. Mr. Rudy Giuliani.
I
mean, it's just...
Wait, the Wall still ain't got counsel, bro. You better step it up. Where's your GoFundMe, son?
GoFundMe. That's what he really gotta GoFundMe because it's not cute. It is really not cute. I just gotta say it is incredible. Now this is I put it in the description of the show. It's Juneteenth, and so I described our set of stories this week as food that you might find at your cookout. I don't know what you're doing. If you have any some holiday plans, Joy, for Juneteenth.
I've been celebrating Juneteenth my whole life. Yes, there will be barbecue. There will be slaughtered animals sliced and cooked on a grill with smoke. It's going to be delicious.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't yet decided tomorrow, which is how a lot of people are celebrating Juneteenth. Mm-hmm. There's a Juneteenth celebration at one of the local community colleges, which is right down the street from me. So I'm going to be setting up the Kappa Alpha Psi booth for information on our Guide Right program and the other things that we're doing as a chapter. So hopefully we can reclaim some brothers during Juneteenth. Last year, it was great. They had this dance group of these like elementary school kids and they rocked it. And they had a whole bunch of Black-owned food vendors, more Jamaican food vendors than I knew existed in the valley. I was like, God damn, there's like 4 of y'all up in here? Like, what have I been missing? Black vendors for desserts and things, crafts, artisanal soaps, all sorts of things where people selling their CDs and things. So that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. But as far as Monday, which I have off from work, we haven't yet really discussed what we're okay. All right, reparations workshop on Juneteenth.
Oh yeah, they be doing a thing.
Yeah, you all right, Patrice? You better be walking to your
I know, right?
informational meeting.
Walk,
Patrice.
That whole picture just says "Pretty girls walk like this."
Right? You got your peplum kicking and your FAMU orange. I'm not mad at you at all.
I'm loving bigger avatar so we can
yes, we can really see
talk positive smack about all our fans.
That's right.
CJ
with the full-on glow up in her avatar.
I know.
So of course, Trump is the big story of the week. It's probably going to continue to be the big story because it seems like more and more stuff is happening. Judge Eileen Cannon this week demanded that really in the next 4 days, the defense counsel demonstrates proof that they have applied for security clearances. Now, do I think giving security clearances to the team whose client stole and they still retain confidential documents is an essential part of the case? I don't know. I mean, I guess her position is that, well, in order to confirm that they're confidential, but the defense needs to be able to do it. But the defendant's claim is that he has absolute right to have the documents anyway. So
I have some ideas on that. But once again, I'm not giving them my labor for free. If they haven't thought about what I just thought about, then it sucks for them and they need to be disbarred because what I just thought about is pretty straightforward. But they also might not be applying for their what is it called? Just that quick, I forgot.
What, the clearances?
The clearances. They might not be applying for their clearance because they don't really want to be on this case. And it's kind of like when you don't want to go somewhere, and so you wait for the train to go by and be like, I missed the train.
Man, I was in the bathroom for 2 hours.
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
Man.
What time does it start? That's the time that I'm busy.
You said the 20th. I thought you said the 32nd.
Right. Dang, my bad.
I have it. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I have to tell you though, the thing that was equally crazy for me was this merger of the PGA and Live Golf.
Why?
So, right. Okay. So I got some information on this, and the first thing I wanted to know was, why is it Live? Because I didn't understand what that was. And I figured it was a Roman numeral thing. Turns out that in a regular PGA tournament, you play 72 holes. In Live, you play 54.
Yeah, hence the LIV.
LIV. But here's the irony. Live is funded by the Saudis, whose abuse crimes and human rights violations result in murder. Not only on 9/11, where you murdered a whole bunch of Americans, but also Jamal Khashoggi, but you're calling yourself Live. Live free and die? Live golf and die? Lies and voluntary manslaughter? I don't know. It's a lot. And then the PGA basically nutted up because they ain't had no money.
And I wonder why. You know what? That actually saying you. So just so we're clear, PGA had no money, so they had to take this blood money from somebody else.
They didn't have enough money to compete because Liv was like, you made $15 million. You made $75 million over the course of 15 seasons. What if we give you $37 million for one season? And the golfers were like, do I have to behead anybody? Or do I just have to swing a golf club? Oh, no beheadings, just golfing. Oh, good. Okay, got you. Yeah.
That's probably the most American thing that's happened this
Absolutely.
week, is overlooking murder and genocide for money. That's kind of how we got here, right? But I mean, again, I'm gonna fall back on my D&I because I talk about change and progress and staying competitive and competitive advantage, et cetera, and how diversity adds to all of that. And if you look at the PGA, outside of Tiger, who has had his ups and downs in the last decade anyway, but outside of him and maybe a few other up and comers, this is still an old white man sport. And people don't really want to see old white men. And I'll tell you what, if it weren't for the Jewish guy who did the movie Happy Gilmore, they probably wouldn't have the attention that they got from that following generation. It was like, oh, I guess golf doesn't suck and it isn't just for old men. And so they have not kept themselves competitive, and hence here they are having to take blood money. Yeah.
Well, so here's one of the things that's a big difference about Live, right? Because I heard this, I don't know if it was an NPR report. At Live, you know, at the PGA, it's all,
yeah.
He's approaching the tee. Like, oh, that's a big swing. That's a big swing. No. At a Live golf tournament,
that's the game I would go see.
It's top golf on a real golf course.
Yeah.
People drinking, people.
Wait. Were you just doing the Beastie Boys Sabotage?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Swinging on the club, holding on the green, throwing all these balls, and I want to be seen. I mean, that's what Live is, and it's like it's 54 holes, so you're not there. You lose a whole day, get shit done. People are playing on teams instead of solo people. In PGA golf, if you don't finish like in the top 3 or whatever, you ain't getting nothing. You ain't get nothing. You can't even tip your caddy unless you got a sponsorship. Here, you're playing on a team, and it's money. So you got 4 dudes playing on a team, talking shit, doing everything else. But to me, honestly, I was like, I never wanted to watch golf. But if this is like Happy Gilmore / Caddyshack version of golf, I probably watch that shit.
Which is funny because we've been asking for that since Caddyshack came out. Clearly, that's how people would rather play around, you know?
That's why Rodney Dangerfield's character in Caddyshack was the one everybody loved, because he was loud. He had beer in his goddamn thing.
God damn it, Chan.
That's what it is. And one, and hole in one.
How long is your hair?
See how that motherfucker just sank that bitch? Damn!
Oh, don't let him start playing defense.
Roy Mack, he flopped. He flopped on that hole. Look at him.
Can you imagine, like as you try to swing, somebody's trying to guard you?
Yeah, double birdie is not a double dribble. So, one of the challenges, though, because just like that, as soon as they announced that they were going to merger, Justice is like, isn't this like basically creating a monopoly? Like PGA kind of had a monopoly, but now you created this other shit that was a competition for the monopoly. But now you're closing the competition by basically saying golfers ain't got nowhere else to go. And now
if you want to play professionally, you're going to play with this Live Golf.
Right. It's going to be it's a super entity. They haven't really announced what it's going to be called yet. But instead of Live acquiring the PGA, since they had all the money, the PGA couldn't acquire Live. Now they're going to be
the Golf
Live PGA or some shit. Yeah, so it's gonna be a tiered thing. And what you'll eventually see is that the PGA people who like the way the PGA is, they're still going to have their thing. Oh, it's Emma Ethan. And the other thing, which is Live, is going to have their thing. But Live gets the TV deals by affiliating with PGA. Yeah. And once TV sees that the ratings are higher with Live, PGA is basically going to fade away. You're giving yourselves 5 years tops, folks. Yeah. Because the old guard are going to die and the new people are getting paid, and they're going to be, you'll have John Morant on a goddamn golf course inside of 5 years. I mean, it's going to be the Masters. Come on. You'll have a green Patagonia puffer jackets and
Yup.
Timbs and shit.
Jerseys.
Oh, they can wear shorts. The golfers can wear shorts in Live.
Nice.
Because I guess that's important, but plaid shorts about to go through the roof. So it's really kind of a crazy, yes, exact. Or the Ice Cube, that Ice Cube 3-on-3 shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's hood golf. I mean, basically.
Yep. Hey. And I would go see that. It's gonna be a Tom Joyner golf tournament. Watch.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
And Top Golf
Steve
is
Harvey.
positioned. Top Golf is in all these different markets. You're going to see Top Golf tie-ins. You're going to see fan competition trying to beat strokes. You're going to have, if you're in Augusta, you're going to have the Atlanta Top Golf with people swinging, trying to beat longest drive. You're going to have all these sorts of tie-ins because you got all the electronic shit at Top Golf, and then you've got the official shit with Live Golf or Live GA, whatever the hell. You're going to see a convergence of fans and pros in a way that has never existed. In this
hold that thought. Oh, in that sport, yes, because I was like, they got a movie coming out about the guy.
Gran Turismo.
Who? You want to tell him about it?
So only because I've seen this trailer 3 times already, because I've been seeing a lot of movies this summer. Gran Turismo is a very popular PlayStation game. Super realistic, incredible graphics. Even when it was on the PS2, the graphics were amazing. And so every successive thing, PS4, blah, 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 it's just gotten sicker and sicker and sicker. So not unlike some of the ways these things happen, like in the real world, when the Journey frontman left or when the Black Sabbath frontman left, you got a fan who gets to come in and realize his fantasy and do all this stuff. So basically what has happened is that Gran Turismo said, let's see if we can find a real racer from people who are playing our video game. Kind of like The Last Starfighter. If you're a kid of the 80s and you remember Last Starfighter, that's a similar premise.
I was going to bring that up myself, yeah.
I loved that movie. So this is a telling of that story with the fundamental fact that there was a Gran Turismo contest trying to get a kid into a Formula One racer. And I got to say, it looks pretty cool. As far, it's not a video game translation like
it's based on a true story or a true
story. Yeah. So it's a cool premise. And
but we're saying that the same thing could happen in golf,
Absolutely.
right? Like think about all the people who played Wii or do Top Golf or do some of the golfing simulations. I could foresee them, especially if team play is big, having competitions in every major city. The same way the dance competitions do, so you think he can golf is going to be the new thing, culminating in a top 4 who get to go to this tournament. And that's money on money on money.
Money. You have a whole generations of kids who don't care.
And that's what Scholarly Talk on Life is talking about. It says, to be fair, I'm happy that it is opening up because the way the PGA is so closed and lacks access makes it really difficult to even get on tour, even if you are talented. She says, my husband has been trying to get on tour for years and financially it's challenging and no guarantee purse is difficult.
Literally, golfers were like, yo, like I could play and play and play and play all year and have a net loss of income, even with sponsorships, because I ain't win nothing.
Right. Which is why
I didn't finish in the top blank. And so what am I doing?
Right.
I'm sitting
just
here.
The sheer amount of investment from, let's say, high school up through the professionals is millions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It costs a lot of money to keep that grass looking good. What you gonna do?
Yeah, you start getting some college students in.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and I still believe that college students, if we are watching them play and they have a fan base, they should have some money for that fan base.
I mean, is it too much to ask that it's not financed by literal murderers and human rights abusers?
I mean,
that's too much to ask.
Half the NFL.
Well, you think they're going to have a ladies tour and Live? Keep it a buck. Hard to swing a club in a burqa. And they don't let women drive anyway. See what
they don't let them read, son. But that's a whole nother story. And I'm talking about extremists and not the main goal. Yeah.
I mean, but the prince is extreme enough to have people killed. So,
but that was before they joined with the PGA, you know. Now they gotta have an American face. Anyway, it's gonna be a mess. Yeah,
it's gonna be a mess. Potentially a thrilling to watch mess. Like it'll be the Real Housewives of Live in a second. Damn.
25 grand just to get on tour.
Damn, Liz.
And then not get nothing.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, they about to change, Liz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, maybe not in the way that anybody would like.
So, what else we got going on?
Oh well. Mike, Trump's former chief of staff, said this. He is scared shitless.
Isn't he?
Even as he's screaming all the time, Mark Kelly sees the signs of his desperation. Because honestly, Trump is stupid, but he's not dumb.
Right.
He thinks if he keeps yelling, he's going to get people to put so much pressure on that they won't dare try to move forward. Unfortunately for him, those planned revolts and all that stuff where he said, come on out and da-da-da-da-da.
Nah, bro. We saw how you left everybody hanging last time. Ain't nobody coming this time.
You aren't getting the legions. You didn't get a crowd as big as Jan 6 anywhere. And in New York, when you were indicted, according to Michael Cohen, his one-time lawyer, it was like 30 people standing outside of Trump Tower. And then some people said in finish him. Some people said in Miami that there was a crowd as big as 5,000, but I'm hearing maybe 1,000.
Yeah,
maybe.
That's 5. So this is becoming puppets on each hand.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's when you're including people who weren't there to support him, but who were there to either shout down the supporters or to express solidarity with Jack Smith's team and blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Okay, stare all you want, Trump. Stare. I mean,
is he going to
listen? I've said this before. I don't know why people keep, Tommy's not going to prison. I never said he was going to prison. They're not going to put that man in prison. And if they were going to put him in prison, it's like he was going to be in gym pop. He's not even going to a Martha Stewart prison. If he gets any sort of, time, and I believe he will be convicted on some things. I don't think you're going to get 37 counts convicted. I think it is going to be impossible for a jury to really deadlock on some of the things. He kept the stuff. He said he kept the stuff. He said he knew it wasn't declassified. And so that's tough to argue. Whether or not you can prove the conspiracy, blah, 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 blah. If he is found guilty, at most, he's going to get home confinement at Mar-a-Lago. Ankle monitor, home confinement. All I want, everybody is looking for him to be behind bars. Y'all are delusional. That's not happening.
No.
He's a former president. He's not going behind bars. He's just not. However, if he is convicted on espionage charges, he cannot hold office again. And that is so much more important. That is so much more important. If he is convicted of espionage charges, that is the thing.
That's what we want.
That's all we want. Because guess what? If he can never hold public office again, all of those people who've been throwing money at him, the banks aren't going to be interested in him. Loans are going to be called due. Then you got Tish James. Tish James is trying to prevent him from doing business in New York.
Right.
Full stop. And I don't know if at some point some person who becomes a GOP president can pardon him. And if he pardons the crime, does that obviate the conviction? Some constitutional person can weigh in on that. But
and now here's the thing. I don't think a Republican president would pardon him because one, it keeps the GOP from being able to get back on the rails because now you've released the Kraken again. We just got him back in his cage, and here you are fucking with the doors. No.
Release the crackhead.
No. Or
Yeah,
as my friends across the pond, shout out to my friends that came over from London this week. We had a good time. But as they were saying when we were talking about this, no, no,
you cannot in it.
hear our prayers. Oh Lord.
Yeah. Prayers, sorrows,
Mhm.
prayers. Yeah, it is astonishing. The thing that remains to be seen, and again, I am prayerful. I hope Judge Eileen Cannon overplays her hand and she gets a reprimand. I honestly don't understand how she isn't barred from doing this since she has already participated in prior legal proceedings about this case and was so sternly admonished that everything she said was basically overturned.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand how that's supposed to work.
Scholarly Talk on Live has a good point. The president cannot pardon state charges. So,
well, but these are federal charges. But he can't pardon. He can't pardon Bragg's charges.
To Georgia, though, he can't do
and Fonnie Willis. He cannot pardon.
And Fonnie ain't having it.
But Fonnie and Bragg aren't espionage charges.
True.
Espionage is the thing that would keep him from pursuing office again.
Mm-hmm.
But even if it takes 4 years, he's done. He'll be almost 80 at that point. And
I'm still waiting on the Simpsons prediction to come through. They had him in a coffin. When that is what I want to know.
I won't speculate. I will not. But I will say that this is staggering. And once the trial proper starts, and once the first witnesses actually take the stand, all right, Sabrina Shade. Once people start to take the stand and Fox News has to cover it, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. People
I'll bet
like
you will. Okay,
treason.
so again, I don't want to give them any ideas, but what I'll bet you Fox News does is only put up the cartoon drawings of the proceedings and then spin a whole new story about what's really going on in there, completely radically different from anything else on television, and then convince their viewers that they're the only ones telling the truth.
Well, it'll be interesting to see because there's Fox News and then there's the Fox commentators.
God damn it, Chan. You can just let me have it.
No, he can't. He cannot. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, if you had Shep on there, or you had Mike Wallace on there, then had it's on Dynamite. Wait, what? Phone News had its
own Dynamite this week.
I mean, they did fire one of Tucker's old producers because they called in some Chiron, they called Biden a wannabe dictator. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I just want it to start.
Yeah,
I want it to start. And here's the thing. The trouble is, if he does win, and I don't think he will, but if he does win, he will just prevent it from going on.
Yeah.
He would, push it off. Not to mention the fact that he's a sitting president, and so I just don't think he's going to win. I'm not saying that I think Biden will win. I'm not saying that. I just don't think he will.
I just really wish it wasn't between old and older.
Yes, I do.
Somebody under 60 run for president.
Please.
That's all I'm asking is be just a grandfather. Can you not be a great grand? That's all.
Well, but Lauren Boebert's already a grandmother, and she's only 36. So.
Oh, what else we're doing here?
Well, there's this. I'm going to throw this up just because we're still talking about Trump, and it tickled me. All of the controversy that we are experiencing in this country about trans and people going into bathrooms. By the way, every one of your houses has a non-gender specific bathroom. Every single one does. Incidentally, this is the bathroom sign that will create havoc in MAGA world.
Why is it
stacks,
brown on the edges?
just stacks of boxes. And my Rattler homeboy, Roy Wood Jr. actually had a funny riff on that, talking about trans people and pronouns, and he said this guy was named Jack and he wants to be called Jill. You can't do that when 90% of the celebrities that you worship are using names that were not their real names. You think Ice Cube is on his birth certificate? He asked you to call him. He asked you to call him Ice Cube, and you called him Ice Cube.
We called Prince an unpronounceable name for 9 years. The artist formerly known as
symbol.
The artist. We called him the artist.
The artist.
Mm-hmm.
And he said,
and if you notice, that is a gender bent symbol.
It is. Mm-hmm. It sure is. And he said, you think Hulk Hogan's name is Hulk?
Right.
He said, Hulk Hogan is an N-word from Tampa named Terry. He didn't want to be called Terry. Terry is not an intimidating name, so he decided to call himself Hulk Hogan. Mm-hmm. You have no problem with that, but you can't respect a person asking to be called what they want you to call them.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, they do it every day. What's your name? Mohinder. Oh, I'm gonna call you Bob.
Uzo Aduba, Uzoamaka Aduba,
yeah,
had the same thing. Mm-hmm. And it's like
her mother told her, "I named you this."
Yeah, I named you this. Mm-hmm. People pretend like they can't pronounce Ocasio-Cortez. Listen, newsflash: most of these names are phonetic. Now, Polish names are not phonetic, at least not phonetic, and Welsh names, not phonetic. But African names. Most Spanish, certainly most Mexican American names, they're all phonetic and no hidden silent syllables neither. Just sound it out, syllable by syllable. You got it.
You sound it out.
You can sound it out. You can do it.
I'm trying to think. There's a woman of, I want to say, Nigerian descent, and she's a DE&I. Well, she's a inclusion and diversity specialist out of London. Oh,
I know she got
Shogbamimu might be her last name. I think it might be Shogbamimu.
Well, that sounds right.
Did you, boy? Yeah.
Well,
so
in Nigeria, usually the second syllable.
Her name is Shola Mas Shogbamimu.
Yeah.
And if you can see my screen here, and you can't. Yeah, there it is.
What? Almost tilted again. Yeah. There it is.
Shola Mas Shogbamimu.
Yes.
Shogbamimu. So that is spelled phonetically. There's a video out there of her being introduced along with a few other people on some British show. And
yes. We talked about this on the show. And the white woman was just like,
I can't pronounce it. How do you pronounce it? She goes, I can't pronounce it. Can we just call you Shola? No, you can't. You can say it. And this woman, she read her for filth while being nice the entire time. She just said it's spelled phonetically. Sound it out. Shog.
You may try again.
And she's like, Shogabama should be. And like she kept like almost intentionally fucking it up and this woman would not let it go. And so all underneath her Twitter, that Twitter and Instagram people, she should just let it go. Why she had to be so rude, blah, blah, blah. She had to be rude because here's the thing. You find out how to phonetically pronounce your guest's name before you come on the show. So this woman pulling this bullshit about Sugar Baba, I can't say it. Bullshit. You practiced this before I got here. And if you didn't, that's disrespect to me. You're going to practice it right now, bitch. I loved every second of it. And we need to do that more and more and more everywhere we go.
First of all, Prince Charles, now King Charles, learned Welsh. Try to fucking tell me Welsh is harder to pronounce than a phonetic name.
Right.
The name with the longest place name on the planet is a Welsh town, a little village. Mm-hmm. And this black dude got on TV, and I didn't know how many black Welsh people were. This brother got on there, and I was like, You did that shit. You did it because it ended with go like that.
Yeah. That guttural glottal sound.
And yeah. And I was just like, and it means like puddle of water near the larger water that is beyond the hill above where the crane flew.
Galifianakis. Yeah, I hear you.
But dot. And all I can tell you is that it ended with go. And this brother, I mean, the name was all the way across the screen. It's like this map, and the name was like 72 characters long, like this.
Hey, this don't even fit on. What standardized test when just census? Where you from? Look, bro, I'm gonna need 2 more pages.
Yeah,
Scantrons to fill this out.
You ain't got no space. Just go. Just put go. That's fine. I'm Welsh. It got you, bro. Just put Welsh. Just write Welsh. Welsh from Wales. That's it. Just do that.
Exactly.
I mean, stop being ridiculous. And I know there's not a single Polish person who is going to run around up in this piece talking about how difficult it is to pronounce a phonetic name. Right. Coach Krzyzewski?
Please
Where?
don't.
Where? Because that looks like
And the thing is, once again, when we talk about a dominant society, society dominated by one particular group, I know that I've seen names that have like nine consonants in a row, and they're like, that says Johnson. Like, you, my honey, I don't see no Johnson. But people just expect you to recognize that this 6-syllable, thing is easily translated. No, you can't just say that, because they expect you to learn European things. Yeah. But they don't expect you, nor do they want to learn anything from South America, the entire continent of Africa, anything indigenous between the Middle East and the Far East. Like, the minute somebody says my last name is Ramamurti, oh my God, I can't say that. But you can say Skarsgård. Miss me with this bullshit.
With double A's and the little dots over the A's, and if you've walked through an IKEA and you can call for some help in getting the Flügelschlange,
man, look.
Stop it. Stop it. I know the meatballs are delicious, but so is respecting. So is respecting what somebody calls themselves and their name. They are trying to own everything, just like they divvied up Africa.
Right, and China trying to do the same thing right now.
That's a long name.
Dikembe Mutombo?
Full name, he says.
Oh, yeah, no, ain't nobody doing that.
No. He's got a whole lineage.
It's like 6 little things in there.
No, Dikembe Mutombo has like a whole Cleon, like ancestral thread in his name.
I mean, I don't blame him. If we could trace our ancestors, we would do that shit too.
Hey, say it.
Somebody asked me if I had this picture. And so before we get completely off of Trump, wait a minute, where to go? Yes, because we're going to go for it. Introducing, just to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, here's Trump in drag as Anita Pardon. And I mean, that blue eyeshadow is kind of working for him,
Popping.
I love the little off the shoulder shimmy, little body shimmer going on. That wig is a wig. I mean, it's better than his current hairpiece. So
and you see that blouse, that chemise.
Yeah, the off the shoulder
incarceration orange.
I mean, he had to get the boys a little skin so they know what they're getting for their cigarettes.
And a pop.
I know.
I'm worth at least 70 cartons of cigarettes.
Right.
Apologies to Dolly Parton, because clearly there's a bit of a conflation there. But wow. Oh, and I read somewhere that is not her hair. Like, you have never seen Dolly Parton's real hair, because all of that is a wig and a put up so that she can walk around in public like a normal person.
She absolutely, and I respect that. That's long-term planning. I'm gonna put myself a wig on, so when I walk around in public, because if you think of Dolly Parton in your mind's eye, all you see is that Victorian era wig and gigantic boobs.
And then things.
You really know what she looks like? If she had on a ball cap and some like leggings and a jean jacket, you would not know her from
at all. And Sia too, with that
Mhm.
big old ridiculous hair. Don't nobody know what Sia looked like?
Wait, Vera, why she had to bring this back up? She go, Trump gonna be waiting to me to toss salad, man. I prefer syrup. I've got the best syrup in all the cantina. Get it flowed in from Miami. You know what? That's something else I wanted to go back to because, and I love that y'all have been commenting so well tonight. We got to go back and talk about where is it? What's going on in Florida? Because a guy.
Oh, we have another big story too. Outside of Florida, we have another big story. But
okay,
go ahead.
Wait. There it is. Though. Headline: Ron DeSantis signs bill to stop Florida baseball players from making minimum wage. Now, who are the Florida baseball players? It's Cubans. It's a whole lot of them. And this is finally a wake up for a lot of Cubans who are like, hey, yo, the fuck? We've been on your side this whole time. Yeah. And now you got a lot of Cubans down south. Even though DeSantis did this, there's a lot of the formerly supportive Latin community that is wearing lock him up hats down in Miami. Cubans don't fuck with Trump no more.
Well, especially since he went to Versailles and told everybody he was going to buy their food and then skipped out without paying for it. Don't you do that to a Cuban now. You tell they go get some plantain and some black beans and rice and some marinated chicken.
You just go?
No, you don't.
Nah,
you don't
bro.
do that. But here's a big story. I was trying to find it in our thing.
They voted for him last time. I don't know that he's going to be able to carry them.
They did.
Yeah.
They absolutely did. The Justice Department came out with a scathing report on the Minneapolis Police Department in the wake of the George Floyd stuff, that they have used illegal and abusive practices for years. It was an 89-page, I believe, report. Mm-hmm. And remember, if you will, that there was a whole period of time where everything was about defund the police and the Floyd thing was going to change everything up in the world and this, that, and the third, and blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Defund the police didn't ever really come online the way that folks thought it might. It just didn't end up becoming the big thing. It just didn't. And so consequently, we're dealing with some of the fallout, and thankfully the DOJ continued to probe. It really is a shame that this many years after all of these high profile cases, and let's remember, Philando Castile never really got the play. Alton Sterling never really got the play. All of these people who were involved in similar circumstances really didn't ever get the play. And yet, so many years later, we're still dealing with these abusive, murderous practices from the police, and it just doesn't seem like it's ever going to end. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem like we're getting any closer to any sort of resolution on what we need to do in order to solve these heinous problems in our country.
What made you think they wanted to get closer to a resolution?
Oh, I'm not saying that.
Always been.
I'm not.
Before.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. I mean, but it's stunning to me how when a lawless mob literally attacks the Capitol, mm-hmm. people want to point the fingers at protests in Minneapolis. Mm-hmm. What were y'all protesting? The fact that he lied to you for months about an election being stolen?
Yeah.
I thought Q was supposed to fix all that.
Man, look.
When was the last time you heard anything about Q and QAnon?
I can't even tell you.
Right. Because it was going to be Q going to get you.
You know what gets me is because, people love to say, well, this is on both sides. And there was a video that came out and said, well, if they indict Trump, we'll indict Clinton. And everybody was like, all right. We're saying we're going to go after Bill Clinton. We don't give a fuck. Go. Whatever. Well, Bill Clinton, if you take our guy, we'll take yours. You can't have Bill Clinton. The Democrats do not rally and protect them. I'm not saying that they don't do some bullshit, because we all know that they did some bullshit in 2016 that led to the fuckery we ended up having because of the mess they tried to pull at the primaries. Yes, they are responsible. They've had chances in the history of progressive-minded Democrats to abolish gerrymandering and to abolish what is it called? Filibustering. Two things that tend to slow us down and corrupt our government. They didn't either, because they wanted to maintain that power for themselves. It's just a different oppressor with a nicer smile. So the only thing I do like about it is when you really fuck up, they will not have your back. Like, you fucked up, we ain't rock with you. Think about,
do you know how quickly they called on
Al Franken
to resign? And that turned out to be a whole ass lie.
Yeah, and he still resigned. Because he didn't want to damage.
Now he regrets resigning.
I'm sure he does.
I mean, it's just, first of all, I think people. There was an Idaho guy who said we're going to come for Clinton. I think you need to realize that there's a difference between indicting someone on the basis of strong and compelling evidence presented to a grand jury who returns an indictment, and someone trying to create a fiat indictment which will not stand up.
Yeah.
You can say you're going to indict Bill Clinton on what? Whitewater turned out to be a nothing burger. And the only thing they caught him on was lying about his extramarital affair.
And wouldn't you
That's
lie?
what they caught him on.
What do you lie to? I remember, because that's what everybody said. Yeah, Bill Clinton is the first black president. Look at him lying about his side piece. Yeah, that sounded real familiar. I'm just saying. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so DeSantis is trying to turn Florida into his own private terror dome. And it's interesting to see people start to not jump ship, but at least look at him sideways. He's damaging himself. And this whole thing with Elon Musk. So you heard about
Absolutely.
What was it?
Companies can't sell direct to consumers.
Yeah. Florida bans direct to consumer auto sales, but carves out a hole for Tesla to do what they want.
And to be fair, also for Rivian and also for that other little upstart electric car company.
So only electric car companies.
It's basically, that was their business model, to sell direct to consumer. So now they're saying Ford and Toyota and Honda, who also have electric vehicles that they were trying to market direct to consumer without dealerships, they can't do it. But the big auto manufacturers are all making this big electric push. And so they wanted to follow the paradigm that Tesla did. And Ron DeSantis just signed a bill restricting capitalism, because that's the way to present it. Why does Ron DeSantis hate capitalism? Sounds Marxist to me.
Right. Isn't this the overreach of government into the free market?
Sure.
Isn't that expressly what that is?
I mean, tell me how.
I know. I just remember civics.
I mean, it literally sounds like it to me. You're basically saying, nope, I don't like the way you do this. And so consequently, I'm going to make it illegal for you to do this because it helps my friends.
And you know what, Anthony? I can't remember nothing else Ken Slaw ever did other than this. That is what we will always remember him for, is that bogus investigation.
Didn't he pass?
I don't know.
I want to say Ken Starr passed.
Probably. Anyway, we are at the
2022.
Say what?
2022, September 13th, 2022.
Look at that. Thank you. So Patrice is right there with you, like, yes, he did. Yes, he did pass. We get a little delay over here sometimes, but we are right at the 1 hour mark. So what's the next thing we had to cover? Because
I just want, you kind of started off the episode with some Juneteenth joy. Did you find another piece of joy? Is this what is this, the AOC speech?
Oh, that's something that so even though our other two co-hosts are not with us on screen, they're still with us in spirit. And this was a discussion around civil rights and the LGBTQ community, et cetera, that AOC did on the floor. And it was just a really good speech. So yeah, play it and then we'll talk about it.
Here we go.
It's very difficult to sit here and listen to arguments in the long history of this country of using scripture and weaponizing and abusing scripture to justify bigotry. White supremacists have done it. Those who justified slavery did it. Those who fought against integration did it. And we're seeing it today. And sometimes, especially in this body, I feel as though if Christ himself walked through these doors and said what he said thousands of years ago, that we should love our neighbor and our enemy, that we should welcome the stranger, fight for the least of us, that it is easier for a rich man, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into a kingdom of heaven, he would be maligned as a radical.
We've often thought
and rejected from these doors.
He'd be put in an asylum.
I know, and it is part of my faith, that all people are holy and all people are sacred unconditionally. And that is what makes faith sometimes, that's what prompts us to transform, because it is unconditional. It's not about that it is up to us to love parts of people. We love all people. There is nothing holy about rejecting medical care of people, no matter who they are on the grounds of what their identity is. There is nothing holy about turning someone away from a hospital. There's nothing holy about rejecting a child from a family. There's nothing holy about writing discrimination into the law. And I am tired of communities of faith being weaponized and being mischaracterized, because the only time religious freedom is invoked is in the name of bigotry and discrimination.
Right.
I'm tired of it. It is not up to us. It is not up to us to deny medical care. It is up to us to feed the hungry, to clothe the poor, to protect children, and to love all people as ourselves.
She did that.
Listen, I'm just going to say it. I don't know how many years it will take for her to be perceived as seasoned enough, but I would vote for her tomorrow.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because there is this mask, label, box on her that says she's a kid, but I mean, when the president, it could be your great grandfather. Yeah, then it does feel like it's going to be a couple of generations before she'll be seasoned. And then what we consider seasoned, though, is changing, because when I was growing up, CEOs were 60 years old. And now we're seeing 35 and 40-year-old CEOs be more normalized. So as the age of full adulthood comes down, I think she'll be more and more accepted as being seasoned. I just hope she can last, because eventually she's going to get tired of shit eventually, as we all do. I think 2028, she could probably give her first run. Because let's remember, Biden's been running for a decade. So, she got to start somewhere. Right. So I feel like she got to start somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not saying I don't think she's seasoned enough. I would vote for her this cycle.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
I just wonder.
She'd be coming out of the left field for 24, but for 28, she would have been around for a decade at that point.
Here's the bottom line. She is incredibly competent, unreservedly brilliant, and telegenic. It would be a lot easier for her to make a ton of money on television than to go through the bullshit of trying to continue to be an elected leader.
Because make no mistake, it's bullshit.
I am prayerful and thankful every moment that she is in that chamber, because you could have heard a pin drop when she was saying that. You weren't coming for her while she was talking about Jesus, and all of you people holding Bibles underneath your desks, and you might as well have them wrapped in your stock certificates. You were not going to question her on what she was saying. when she's quoting scripture and you know you dead ass wrong. I mean, oh jeez.
God damn it, Chan.
No. She hitting that slide.
Right. But it is a double standard for women in politics.
Well, but it's not like it's any of the young guys are faring all that much better. Pete Buttigieg ran, and Pete Buttigieg was considered a legitimate candidate for a second. Obama's about the youngest, right? Let's say Obama
in recent history,
right?
Yeah, because Kennedy was young too.
Well, yeah, sure, 50 years ago.
Yeah,
but when you think post Kennedy, you had Nixon, right? You had
Carter.
Ford. You had Carter was relatively young at the time. I think all things considered.
Yeah,
he wasn't.
And then, Clinton was young when he first started. Yeah,
sure. But his the point is, we have not had anybody that young starting in the role.
But you have to be 35. Is she 35 yet?
Yeah, I think she's 35. Hold on, now you're gonna make me check. I thought she was 35.
To the internets. Let's see who gets it first, us or Sharp.
Oh Lord, I can't even spell. That's part of the problem. Ocasio-Cortez.
She's 33.
Okay.
I win. She's 33. So she got 2 more years so she can even run. So yeah, that 28 is looking pretty good.
Oh, she's a Libra.
Okay.
Oh, good Lord.
Look at Elaine coming with the stats. Clinton was 46, Obama was 47. So if she's 33 now, she'll be 30, she'll be 35 in 2025, depending on when her birthday is.
Okay.
Which means she could run in 28. I
am not feeling well right now because she was born after I pledged. God damn it.
I mean, the salt and pepper looks good on you, bro. Embrace it.
At least she's a Libra. She was born one day. Her birthday is one day before my elder son's birthday.
All the oldie stations play music that I love.
Is that oldie? Thank you. Appreciate that. Oh, Lord. My goodness.
Backspin ain't nothing but stuff that I thought was still new. Backspin was playing like Biggie, like it was a classic. And then I remember that it's 2023 and Biggie is a classic.
Did y'all, by the way, I heard something yesterday on a reel that shocked me. Did you know that there was a rapper from Mississippi named the Notorious B1, who was also an obese, dark-skinned cat? And if you listen to his record, you would think that Biggie got his entire flow and vibe from this cat.
Is he older than Biggie?
He's still alive for one.
But I mean, did he start before Biggie did?
Yes. He was recording before, and Juicy, which was the breakthrough single, you got to look up the Notorious B1. I always thought Biggie Smalls was the thing that was the scandal. But this Notorious B1 dude, I was like, oh, for real? And you know where he says from Mississippi down to the East Coast? And this dude is from Mississippi. You gotta look it up.
Whoa.
Yeah, you gotta look it up.
Scandalo.
Yeah, it's a little scandalous. I'm trying to see where the thing. Yeah, did Notorious B.I.G. steal the song Juicy?
Got to give you that Dunder Mifflin look like.
We can close out the show. I will say this. It's become a feature of the show. And because it's summer and it's going to be nonstop movies all summer, it is very likely that I will have seen all of the major releases on the day before we do our show. We talked about Transformers last week, didn't we?
I think so. Yeah.
Briefly. And I know we talked about Spider-Verse. I don't know if we talked about Transformers. But
I hadn't seen it, so I don't think we talked about it too much.
Okay.
But I've seen it now.
Right. Transformers soundtrack, fire. It's an amazing Transformers film.
It's another example of how diversity and inclusion is winning, because it's a whole different crew, it's a whole different writer, different producer, everything. And they bring
Director's black.
Director is black, and it's just more fun to watch. And my boy, what's his name?
The dude from In the Heights.
Dude from In the Heights, and also from Hamilton, yeah.
From
The
Hamilton.
Puerto Rican poppy. He is, if he is Puerto Rican, he might not be. But anyway,
He's
him.
Dominican. Yeah,
He's Dominican? Yes.
I think.
Him is in it, and he's
Yes.
good.
And Dominique Fishback.
Yeah.
Who plays a Brooklynite who also happens to be an archaeological prodigy. And just like with no explanation and no controversy, it's just like, no, she just knows shit. Like,
yeah, she
has
knows everything.
photographic memory apparently or something, and it's just hella cool. The vibe is excellent. The soundtrack is
fresh vibe.
Thick. It's crazy. Pete Davidson is Mirage. It's a really good movie, which takes me to The Flash.
And the commercials for The Flash look really good. What happened?
So on my Facebook page, I posted this review. Y'all remember when Ally McBeal kind of like broke the pre-internet with the dancing baby? She broke the water coolers with the little baby, hooked on a feeling and all this and da-da-da-da-da. So the opening set piece of The Flash includes The Flash having to save a bunch of babies who are in a neonatal wing at the top of a 20-story hospital wing, which apparently everybody else was able to evacuate, because there's the only people in this entire 20-story wing are these babies and a nurse. And for the establishment scene, they actually show babies in the bassinets because fine. But then when the thing starts to collapse, of course you can't have babies falling. So they use CGI babies. And when I tell you, it was like watching Ally McBeal with 8 CGI creepy monster babies falling through the sky. And that's the first thing you see. It's like,
why were they falling through the sky?
Because the building was collapsing, because a terrorist who wanted to get a virus, apparently the virus was...
No, I didn't even know all that. Did he throw them out the window and then catch them on the way down?
Yes, because he's the Flash and he can move fast. And what we established in X-Men Days of Future Past with Quicksilver is that if you do a sequence where a fast person moves so fast that everybody else is frozen and he does stuff and it looks cool, that is neat. And so people have been chasing that dragon ever since. They've never done it as well as the first one. They didn't even do it as well in the second one, although the second one in the next X-Men movie had a similar conceit. But it was not as good as the first one. And so he's got to run around. He sees that there's 8 babies, but his calories are low. So in between trying to save the babies, he's got to eat burritos. He's got to eat candy. He put a baby in a microwave to protect the baby. The movie did not improve. And to people who say,
oh my God.
What?
I didn't expect you to say that. I didn't expect you to say the movie did not improve. From baby in the microwave.
From microwave babies.
It only gets worse.
Micro babies. Press a little button and he comes out fresh and hot. It's not great. And for people who, a couple of people who have said, oh, but Tom, can I just enjoy a movie? Yes, you can enjoy a movie. But please don't have Tom Cruise come on a commercial and have James Gunn come on a tweet and say it's the best superhero movie ever. It is not. That is a flat out lie. I can name on 2 hands 10 better superhero movies without breathing hard.
Yeah. And
not even all of them are in the MCU. So, I mean, it's not difficult.
Don't
Blade,
say you're saying just wait
Iron Man, Winter Soldier, Spider-Man 2.
Blade.
Blade. Oh, I said Blade was number 1.
Oh.
So, I mean, any number of movies. Infinity War and Endgame is a better movie. I mean,
both Panthers.
Black Panther and Wakanda Forever, not to mention Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I can't believe I'm saying that. But, you know, it's not the best superhero
Bro,
movie.
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok is baller. It is not, however, the worst DCEU movie.
That's still Batman versus Superman.
I mean, that's pretty awful.
It's unredeemable.
But this has a lot of problems. And so people are going to go see it and people are going to say, oh, Tom, da, 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 da. It is. And honestly, time travel movies are always difficult because they're fraught with plot holes. Mm-hmm. There is a plot hole in this movie that you don't even realize is coming until the very end of the movie. And
none of it makes sense.
And it's just like, wait, what just happened? And it undoes so much of what you thought you were seeing in the movie. And Ezra Miller is in it 2 times on screen through 80% of the movie. So if you have a problem with Ezra Miller's,
you really can't see this
external behaviors, to see that person on screen twice the whole time is a mess. It's a hot mess. And yes, there are a ton of Easter eggs in the last 5 minutes. A ton.
So just wait for that shit. I promise you, that's already on YouTube. So just go.
Oh yeah, all of the shit.
And like
the
and
big surprise. All of the surprises of all of the reveals, and I will just tell you right now, all of it is done with CGI, and the CGI is Super Bowl halftime Doritos commercial quality.
It's Puppy Bowl commercial level.
It's not good CGI. It's in Rogue One. They had what I consider to be really good. Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Chan, that's a good movie.
That's a good flash.
So the DC animated universe has always been on point.
It's baller. Why they didn't just do a shot-for-shot remake of the Wonder Woman movie, the animated Wonder Woman movie, I will never know. There hasn't been a DC movie that is better than even the worst of the DC animated movies, period. And the after credit scene is shit. And it's just the closing sequence is just like a what? And it just doesn't. They said that this was the movie that was going to set James Gunn up for redefining and rebooting the DC universe.
Instead of just setting him up.
That is a bucket-headed lie. So go see it if you want to see it. But don't say I didn't warn you. You can go and you can sit there. There are laughs. You know, Ezra Miller have jokes. No, go see. My rating for this was 5. Go see Across the Spider-Verse again.
Right. So 5, rewatch Spider-Man.
Rewatch another movie.
5.
Yeah. Actually, I had a better time at The Blackening, and I thought The Blackening was going to be a coon fest. Aside from the fact that they use the not word way more than I am comfortable with in my life, The Blackening was a long Key and Peele or Black Lady sketch show sketch.
Yeah.
And so that's not a bad thing. There were laughs. There are legitimate laughs. Some of it is a bit tortured. There's one character in particular who is a Tyler Perry mainstay who adopts a facial aspect in a lisp that is completely unnecessary. But I laughed. I did laugh. There was some funny stuff in there, I have to say.
Okay.
And the audience laughed a lot more than me. Not that it was a whole bunch of us. It's probably 10 people in the audience. But the black people
laughing out loud without a prompt is good. That says it's funny.
No,
so go see The Blackening.
Yeah, if you are black, I would go see The Blackening before The Flash for sure.
You know what? You're right, because I remember when I went to see Spider-Man, we saw the preview for The Blackening, and I was in a theater with majority white people, and me and the guy I was with were the only ones laughing at that preview because we got it.
Right.
We understood the pretext. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a satire. So that's the thing to carry. It's not trying to be a serious film in the way.
It's like in the Wayans Brothers scary movie vein. Yeah.
Right. It's more, but not even. It takes itself a little bit more seriously than Scary Movie because it's not a lampoon. Where Scream was a satirical take on standard horror movies, and Scary Movie was a lampoon of Scream. It's not that many meta layers.
Stop talking so I can compliment your ass. So I just want to give you your flowers for saying this is a satire. The other one was a lampoon, and then giving all the nuances in between because of your extensive knowledge of film and film genre. And so, yeah, once again, classy, bougie,
ratchet. You pick up the wine on cue. Listen, I enjoyed it. It forecasts a lot. It's a little bit obvious, but I laughed. I would have preferred.
And I don't mind foreshadowing and it's something that's not taking itself seriously. So
exactly. No, it's not trying to be Citizen Kane. I will say I would have preferred the actor from Insecure, who played Kelly. Yeah. I would have preferred her to the woman that they cast, Natasha.
Granted, I would prefer Kelly most of the time.
On anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the woman of size they have on the Black Lady sketch show, I think would have been better than the woman that they cast in that role to be the Sapphire, Loudmouth, whatever. But listen. I enjoyed it. I laughed. I didn't laugh as much as other people, but I would definitely recommend and go see The Blackening at a hood theater, please.
Yes.
The preview
go see it at a Magic Johnson theater.
At a Magic Johnson with an extra large strawberry soda. Do that. And the Ike and Mike's that you snuck in from the dollar store. Because that was the preview that got me to say I might actually enjoy this. They had a reaction preview where they're showing in the infrared, they're showing the all black audience watching the movie
and losing it.
That's what got me to come to see it, and it was worth it. If I had seen it in like a Detroit theater, I think I probably would have pissed myself because people would have been willing to screaming and laughing so hard.
And yes, he said strawberry.
I did say strawberry. Mm-hmm. You're lucky I got the berry. It could have just been strawberry.
Strawberry. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, get it to 2 syllables if you can.
Although, on a different day, we're going to do language, and I'm going to tell you why. Hearing specifically New Orleans people say burl, furl, earl, and orange is a phonetic inheritance from France.
Listen, I love Summon Show. I'd love to get you on the show, Summon Show.
Oh, Summon the Show. So yes, so Summon the Show is now my friend.
What?
And we have spoken twice on the internet. I'm feeling myself up in here. So a while back, he did something. I can't remember because I follow and comment on so much of his stuff. I made the comment because I'm always in love with his knowledge and his hair, but his knowledge of language, right? And so he was talking about something and he was being extremely impressive with the way he spoke about it. And I was like, I love the way you talk so much. If I could still have children, I would have your baby. And he wrote me back and said, I'm sure our imaginary children would be gorgeous. I was like, yeah, I love you. So recently he said he was doing he was doing something around respectability politics and how Black people can sometimes oppress themselves, or we might have some people who like to stand up with a megaphone and express how they're not one of us and how we are so terrible in an effort to separate. And he said, do not use the language of oppression to make an impression on our own oppressors. Yes, I know. I was like, whoo. And so I wrote him and I was like, put that on a t-shirt. He came back, done. And I was like, sold.
Bought.
Yes. So I put that link to that t-shirt that he made for me on our Steel Sharp and Steel's Facebook page. So it's only a couple of posts down. So go get that, go cop that shirt so I can show him I got clout up in these streets. Why, what? Why am I getting that face?
Because I'm jealous as hell.
Hey, son. Mwah. I hope he sees this. I'm going to send him this.
You should.
Clip this.
You can come on the show. Bro, we love the reels. We love the reels. And I'm a linguist. I have a thing for portmanteau. From Creole heritage. I feel you. Not Geechee, not Gullah, but I love everything that you do. Bro, like.
Come on. Come hang with us.
Come hang. Come hang with the Steel Sharp and Steel, bro.
That's right. Anthony Joy is on that level. I know famous people.
He famous. He did. Now, our friend from the driveway, the tea sipping girl, I thought I shared.
Lenise, yeah, Lenise, yeah.
I shared that in a thing, in an IG message to you. Yes,
I believe so. I know that I repost. Generally speaking, if we are not going to do a Friday show, I will post Parking Lot Pimpin', because she basically says everything we're thinking and saying. That girl is sharp. Love her.
Here it is. Hold on. So this is wait. Okay, there we go. I gotta run it back. We don't have an Instagram page, and for a while I've been thinking that maybe we need to have a Steel Sharp and Steel Instagram page so that we can share the things that we see on IG that we don't always get to have on the show, just so that you could know what we're watching. So is that something, Sharpies, that you think would be intriguing, that if we had an Instagram page where we both share content that we like and we think would be of interest to you, and also occasionally post some things that we just think would be dope? Is that a good idea? Because I would like it to be a good idea. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm going to present her, and this is how we'll close the show. This is how we will close it. So share screen, and I'm going to share Instagram chats. Yep, there it is. Share, and then I'm going to put it in the stream. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to turn up the volume, and then we go play.
Friday, so I'm going to keep it black, but I'm going to keep it brief. Ron DeSantis is a literal supervillain, up there with the likes of Black Jack Randall and damn Thanos. Literally out here trying to make over the squirrels. That was a Proud Family reference. I mean, take over the world. Look me in my face. This is serious, people. Ronald McDonald announced his run for president last Wednesday on Twitter, of all places. Sat down with the CEO of Twitter, Elon Musk, and the same man that got y'all dizzy over blue check subscriptions had him up there with technical difficulties, glitches, and audio crashes. You could barely hear anything they were saying. But one thing we did hear him say is that American decline is not inevitable. It is a choice, and we should choose a new direction, a path that will lead to American revitalization. And for one, we should be clear about the type of revitalization he's even talking about. And if his work in Florida serves as any pretext, then we know the decline he's talking about is the desire for critical change in our education system to embrace the analysis of racism, to accept gay people, women's rights, trans people, and the desire for stricter gun laws. He's implemented the infamous Don't Say Gay law, HB 1521, which restricts public access to transgender people, SB 254, which bans gender-affirming care for the youth, HB 1069, that bans the correct pronoun usage for trans students, HB 1438, which bans drag shows, and the HB 225, an anti-trans sports bill. And if you wanted to peacefully protest any of these undoubtedly fascist policies, well, he's banned that too. And before long, they're going to be trying to arrest people like me for sedition. So I'm not kidding when I say this. It's giving Hitler. Revitalization is exactly the same language he was giving at the top of his career as this messianic leader before the nationalism, elitism, and fascism that somehow led to Jewish people being murdered in internment camps right before our eyes. If we want to take that full circle, Hitler's Aryan race philosophy was informed by the codified racism of early Jim Crow. And Jim Crow is also the system that informs the grand design that DeSantis has been employing all along, the Southern strategy, a throwback, if you will. Nixon did it, Reagan did it, Trump did it, and now we're sitting here horrified looking at the prospect of the Satan making it into office. The Southern strategy was first employed by Kevin Phillips, Richard Nixon's political strategist. The goal of the Southern strategy was essentially to lean into the racism that already existed in the South, to lure white racist Democrats out of the Democratic Party and over on down to the GOP. They did not coin this term, but they certainly took it and ran with it. When discussing the outcome of the Voting Rights Act of 1964, the one that allowed Black people to register to vote unencumbered, Kevin said, the more Negroes that register as Democrats in the South, the sooner the Negrophobe whites will quit the Democrats and become Republicans. They have no shame. And while Nixon's strategy may have resulted in an over-obsession with communism, Reagan's may have resulted in the end of free college, a trampled economy, and negotiation with terrorists, Trump's may have resulted in a proliferation of the Proud Boys, but DeSantis poses danger to the lives of Americans even more so because he's threatening our very being. And here's the thing, Ron DeSantis done upped the ante, elevated the Southern strategy, and got y'all so hyped up on his anti-Black, anti-woman, anti-queer pro-gun platform, and guess what? He probably don't even believe in it. He can't possibly. He's too smart and too successful a politician to be limited by flat out ignorance. But guess what? Y'all not. And there it is. We saw it with Tucker Carlson. These people only believe in this shit to the extent that they know that you believe in it and are so impressed by it that you'll carry y'all dumbasses down to the courthouses and use it as the only information you use to vote with. And as DeSantis puts it, Florida is where woke goes to die. And unfortunately, he has now tried to rope Asians in on his anti-woke narrative while literally banning critical race theory and books about Black people left and right like it's Fahrenheit 451, the man is mandating that AAPI history be taught in Florida schools. And I'm not saying that it shouldn't be. I'm just saying he don't like y'all neither. He using y'all just like the white racists in an attempt to garner Asian support against the interests of Black people. Beyond that, this move also serves as a message to the rest of the Americans that might vote for him that doubles down on the mono-minority myth, which is another conversation altogether. It's crazy how many of y'all don't like us just because white people set you up to hate us, no matter how down for y'all we've been historically. And listen, I know Joe just took a tumble, and I really am not interested in getting up here to beg y'all to vote again. And I know it seems like this show is about politics, and you're not wrong, but you are mistaken. This show was developed to engage the public in critical conversation about identity politics. That means you, all the pieces that make up your identity and who you are. And unfortunately, policy that should be focused on the economy, actual criminality, and how this country actually runs itself is actually hinged on you. The government of a country that had to codify slavery and misogyny into law to justify it will always have its priorities conflated with human rights. And if we don't do something and show up, they will do their best to kill us and call it legal. So Ron DeSanctimonious is right. And we can try to laugh to keep from crying, but it's literally scary out here. Hey y'all, what's up? It's Friday, so I'm gonna keep it black.
Thank you. This is what happens when we both got admin rights. We in here just pushing buttons. What I want to say is what she said. All of what she said. And I love that she brought up the point of how they tried to turn Asians against us. Let's not forget that this is the same country that put Asians in concentration camps too. It didn't matter Chinese or whatever, you was an ease and you was going in that camp or everybody else. Yes. But just like we're seeing more quote unquote woke white kids in this Gen Z, Gen Alpha generation, where the Asians are not here for that bullshit too. So you heard what Lenise just said, and I'm gonna bring this up from a couple weeks ago.
Y'all, Florida just passed AAPI history education. And if you're like, wait, did I read that headline correctly? Florida, as in Governor DeSantis, signed this into bill. Yeah, exactly. This is why we gotta use our critical thinking. Yeah, the same state that has the Don't Say Gay bill, that banned African American history, that banned critical race theory. Yeah, something's not adding up. But if you go one level deeper, it actually really adds up because white supremacy tactics, they're not creative. An important force in Asian American racialization is the invention of the mono-minority myth, which was very much based on perpetuating anti-Black oppression. And then on top of that, the theory of Asian American racial triangulation teaches us that Asian Americans are typically used as a racial wedge group to create this triangulated form, this triangle shape, in order to keep the racialized structure stable so that the power can continue to stay in the hands of the people who have traditionally held power. So passing mandatory AAPI history education is compatible with banning Black American history if you think you can use Asians to continue anti-Black oppression. And I will not at all be shocked when Florida Congress people and the governor hide behind the passage of this bill as proof to say that they are not racist. So community, let's stay vigilant and critical of these tactics.
Listen, there's a lot of good stuff going on. I am proud and pleased to be a part of the good stuff in creating dialogue and sharing with our community. There's stuff to talk about during the rest of the month of June about history lessons of white supremacist terrorists literally stealing and murdering to take advantage and control of Black resources and wealth and property, setting us back another set of generations after we had struggled to climb from the doldrums of slavery into, some means of providing for ourselves when we were in segregation. You didn't even like it. You wanted us to be segregated, but when you saw that our segregated shit was nicer, you were like, oh, no.
Burn that shit down. Flood it.
Down. And we'll take it. We'll take it from you. Thank you.
Right. And take it and then ruin it. Take it and ruin it.
Ruin it. For who knows why. I mean, it's pathetic. Anyway, it is 10:11.
Yes.
And I think it is a good time to wrap the show. We want everybody to have a wonderful Juneteenth if you celebrate on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday on the actual date. If you are in Texas, especially because Governor Abbott is on that fuck shit, he just sent a bus of immigrants. Oh, here it is. He just sent a bus of immigrants to Los Angeles. Make sure it's not muted. There's the little mute button. Okay. Oh,
I'm frolicking. Why you ain't tell me we was frolicking? I'm so frolicking. Oh, we frolicking? That's what we doing? We frolicking? Let me get my frolic on. Oh. I seen the video. I had a frolic in the field with the motherfucking daisies.
he said the daisies.
Life is so good. I'm frolicking.
This makes me so happy. All of it.
I just got up, man, but ain't nobody tell me we was frolicking, nigga. We frolicking, bro. We frolicking, shit.
Meeting is in session. Thank you all for joining the TAABF.
And we about to get in on this frolicking. Black boy joy is back.
Black man frolicking.
It is.
We're frolicking. Yes, we're frolicking. It's about some frolic.
Go do your thing.
Look at the jump.
I'm frolicking, niggas. So they're encouraging black men to frolic. Oh.
I love this so much.
Do it. Do it.
So, get your full Frolic-teenth on this weekend. Your Froon-teenth, if you'd like.
Juneteenth frolic. Juneteenth jump and bump. Yeah, do that. And here's the thing.
Juneteenth jump and bump.
Black boy joy is probably the single most oppressed thing in the United States. I say that more than women being oppressed, a black man just being happy outside is a capital offense.
That
It's
dude
so
with the
so
locks
frolic.
who is squealing.
How do you not love that?
That shit took me out. He said, he. So with that, I will say, I'm Tom Cunningham.
I am Joy Stevens.
And this is Steel Sharpens Frolic.